The panel has finally been named. It comes days after a visit to Sri Lanka by the UN's top political officer Lynn Pascoe. It will advise the UN chief on measures taken by Sri Lanka to fulfill commitments made to him when he visited the country in May last year. At issue is the final stage of the battle between government troops and the Tamil Tigers, or LTTE, which saw hundreds of thousands of civilians caught in the crossfire. While blame was levelled at both sides, the Sri Lankan government had to answer allegations that it had failed in its duty to protect Tamil civilians. The government denied all allegations of wrongdoing, claiming it had launched a humanitarian operation to free the people from the clutches of the LTTE.
It's an advisory panel to advise the Secretary-General. It's not fact-finding and it's not an investigative body in that sense.
The naming of the panel has not been welcomed by the Sri Lankan government. It says the international community must take into account that the country is emerging from one of the world's longest-running civil wars.
The international interference to a sovereign state, there must be certain limits, there should be limitations. And speaking about these international organizations, they do behave differently from one nation to another. There is no uniformity.
The government says the UN panel will undermine its own presidential commission, which was named a few weeks ago. Appointed by President Mahinda Rajapaksa, the 8-member body has been given a wide brief, including, according to the President, powers to investigate allegations of war crimes should any be brought before it. But the fact that it was appointed by the government to investigate actions authorized by that same administration has brought the Commission's independence into question. Dealing with what has happened is particularly vital for the Tamil minority, so they can move on and rebuild their lives. Perhaps even more important is the need to address the root causes that led to the 26-year conflict.
If that is addressed, then even these other issues of the end of the war, because during the final phases, any war, people's rights are trampled upon. Even those issues may fade into the background.
UN sources say the body has a responsibility to monitor human rights in member countries, and that the appointment of this panel is simply part of that process. But for the Sri Lankan government, it is an unwelcome interference in its internal affairs. Having confounded international expectations by crushing the Tamil Tigers, it says it will use the same homegrown solutions to deal with post-conflict issues as well. Minelle, Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Colombo.